Hello, welcome to Pulse of the Heartland. Special teams save Iowa again. Boomer Sooner keeps playing in Norman because they scored again. And every SEC team should be ranked again per Kirby Smart. I mean, it's college football is, I think, more back than ever now that all of that has happened in this last weekend.
Without David and Joey here, just us two Iowa State fans, that was our worst nightmare last weekend.
Yes.
Just our worst nightmare.
I don't think they would have justified anything, but we'll get a little hateful because of our jealousy. But yeah,
I'm sure
that was a bad weekend.
We won't have any moderators here to bring us down a notch. So
hate's gonna be the extreme. So
yeah. Hey Brian, good to see you here today.
Mm-hmm.
After the emergency alert system went off today, you didn't turn into a zombie.
No. I blacked out a little bit, and all of a sudden I already did my mail-in ballot. So I don't know. It was weird. I came back too as I was dropping something in the mailbox. So
did you hear about this conspiracy theory?
Let's hear it. Probably.
So the conspiracy was that it's been planned that this EAS system was going to go off at 1:20 Central Time or whatever it was today. And it was going to turn everybody that had a COVID vaccination into a zombie.
Yep.
It was going to mess with something like with the microparticles in it. And yeah.
See, if you bring in micro or nanobots or something that you can't see, boomers will believe that it's the real deal. Well, how do you disprove it? It's like the flat earth thing, man. I did see photos online of people putting their iPads and their cell phones in their microwaves because it stops the waves.
You're supposed to wrap your phone in tin foil and also your head.
I was just gonna say you're supposed to look like a Hershey's Kiss on the top of your head.
Yeah.
Like any conspiracy theorists that they've made up from the last 40 years. So
yeah. So since we talked about my favorite conspiracy theory, Australia being fake, a couple weeks ago, I had to bring this up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you would have told me that the conspiracy theory was once that went off, everyone would think every SEC team should be ranked, I would have believed you 100% because apparently that's what some people believe here, man.
Well, it doesn't need to go off for that to happen, especially if you're somebody with a vote.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get into that in a little bit here, man. But, I always like to start with the trivia question. And I would say it's usually, with this one, I was expecting all four people in here. So, unfortunately, I'm just going to be grilling you.
Okay.
But there's been 4 players, 3 quarterbacks, and a running back that have won the Heisman with more than 90% of the vote. Can you name them? And then the extra hint that I put in there was they've all been since the year 2000.
Caleb Williams. Wasn't he last year?
No.
I thought he ran away with it.
No, let me get the official list.
Okay, running back, Reggie Bush.
Yes, he was second with 91%.
Okay.
And that one counts. I know it's vacated. It counts.
It counts.
Yeah.
I mean, what he did is totally legal now.
Yeah, and now it's encouraged.
Yeah.
Man, Caleb Williams only had 72% of the vote last year. I mean, it makes sense, but
wow.
But okay, so you have Reggie Bush. Think of other way popular ones. One will really stick out, and the other two I think will shock you.
Let's see here. Oh man, Joe Burrow.
Yep, that's the obvious one. LSU. He is the highest.
Tim Tebow.
No.
No
other SEC quarterback.
So my next one is going to be Johnny Manziel, so it can't be that. Is Matt Leinart?
No.
Going back on the USC, I guess.
Nope. The next highest
Cam
USC
Newton
player is O.J. Simpson, actually.
Can't be Cam Newton because he's SEC.
Nope, but he had 81%.
Yeah, he's SEC, right. So it couldn't have been him. Yeah,
one Big Ten quarterback and one Pac-12 quarterback.
Marcus Mariota.
Yep. Well, I guess they're both future Big Ten quarterbacks. So.
And a Big Ten quarterback.
Yep. This one I think will be pretty tough.
Troy Smith.
Oh, goddamn, you got it. It was
Oh.
Troy Smith.
Nice.
Well, there we go. And just because I want to be petty because Oklahoma beat us, do you know who received the least amount of votes? You don't, but in 1952, Billy Vessels of Oklahoma, halfback, only received 14% of the vote, but because it was spread out amongst 9 people, he
Who
so
were the other 8? Like, it must have been spread out perfectly even, and he won by 1%.
it was like 500. You know, like when they have like 90% of the vote, it's like 5,000 votes, right?
Yeah.
He had like 500 back in the day, and the next guy had like 370. So I mean, it was like as far of a stretch away as you can when you only have 14% of the vote. But I wanted to be sad and cry because Oklahoma, I think, scored again on us after this past week.
I just heard this stupid song that their band plays again.
Boomer Sooner over and over and over. Oh, I swear, like I went there one time and it was the 42-41 year with the defensive pass interference in the end zone that Oklahoma fans will admit did not happen. I saw with my own eyes 80 yards away. It happened, you know.
Yeah.
That song is just seared into my fucking brain. I tailgated for the whole day with my buddy down there, and it was just like I love Iowa State, but if I had to hear our fight song every like 10 minutes, I think I would just take a knife and put it in my ear. Like I don't know how they don't get sick of it, man.
Yeah, how do they not get sick of it?
Oh, well, I guess when you're winning, that cures a lot of things.
Yeah.
Wanting to hear it. But yeah, Oklahoma 20, Iowa State, or I'm sorry, Oklahoma 50, Iowa State 20. Oklahoma, that's the first 20-plus point spread that Matt Campbell's never covered in his career. Oklahoma covers -20, and the over of 48.5 hits. That hit it wasn't second. Oh no, it was second quarter, wasn't it? Or was
because it was 40-20 at halftime.
No, 30-20. Because I think it was supposed to be 23-20, and then we had.
I think it was. Turnover. I'm pretty sure it was 40-20 at halftime, because it was 21-20, and then they scored 19 points in a matter of like 2 minutes.
Well, either way, it felt like 40 because that was.
I think pretty sure it was 40-20 at half.
I'm looking at the box score. You're right. Never mind. 40-20. Yeah. So that hit mid second quarter.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. That was I think the one thing that we should be just fine with is, again, how many freshmen are playing and how young are we? And we kept up when it was the back and forth. We were doing just fine.
Yep.
And I think the big thing, and I'm not going to blame one call as dictating this whole game, but you have to admit that the momentum really shifted. I think it was like 21-20 with 4 minutes or something, and we had that we had the defensive pass interference called on the player that got pulled down by his face mask, and then because his arm was around the Sooners receiver's leg, that got called defensive. At that point, though, I mean, I think we were just gassed, as well as again, I think we need to come to realize this defense isn't as good as what we expected going into the year. Because shocker, when you lose a first round DN that can take a double team and create that pressure, not as good.
Yeah, for sure. The defense. Oh man, they gave up 27 to Oklahoma State and then 50 to Oklahoma in back-to-back games. I mean, that's not what I think any Iowa State fan would be expecting this year. We'd expect, because our offense is finally coming around. Like, we were throwing punches with Oklahoma until halfway through the second quarter, big chunk plays. And then the defense is just giving up even bigger chunk plays, which I didn't expect. That didn't shock
me. I mean, not only like Oklahoma State kind of showed where to hit those spots. Now you have better athletes and a better quarterback doing it. I mean, that's exactly what they should have done.
And Iowa State's defensive line could not get any pressure on.
He's getting the ball so quick, man.
Gabriel, was that his name?
Yeah, Dylan Gabriel.
I mean, he got the ball. And just, where's the farthest guy running down the field? I'm chucking it up. He's gonna catch it. That's basically every freaking play. Like when they when he went back to pass, and as soon as he would just launch that ball, I'm just thinking it's going to be a completion.
Yeah.
That's the way it went.
That meme that's like, fuck it, he's out there somewhere, and it's like shows Mahomes like he's throwing it like an 80-degree angle. That's what it was, like all game.
Yeah, and
But
their receivers were out there and they were open. Good on them.
Well, and I don't think our defense was as good as we expected. Oklahoma's defense is better than we expected, and they had to change their mentality of shutting down in the second, just slowing it down. You know, there's absolutely no need. You need to put anything else on film for Texas or anything else in the second half, and like, let's get out of here uninjured. You know, JJ got in. I think Abu Sama had a good game. He had a couple clutch runs that kind of opened up where we're even allowed to get some of those chunk plays.
What's that? Sorry.
Oh, I was just saying we're allowed to get some of these chunk plays because Abu Sama was getting to the outside and he actually got I think it was that 60-yard run, 40 or 60. He got a large run where all of a sudden you couldn't just play down and not have to worry about runs. We had a few moments like that, but
when Iowa State's getting chunk plays from the quarterback and the wide receivers, that opens that up. And Abu Sama had a pretty good game. I think Cartavius Norton had a pretty good run as well. Good to see him back. When he was in a sling on the sideline in the second half of the Oklahoma State game, that kind of worried me, but no, he's back, had a good run. But yeah, that opens that up. So I think Iowa State, keep throwing that ball. That will open up the running game, which has been absolutely god awful.
I think at this point we got to do that with that line until we get Remsburg is back after this game, I believe. And actually, that's actually a pretty good segue. We're getting Remsburg back after this game because he took the plea agreement. They have a couple of these Cyclones that didn't take plea agreements. And I don't know if you've read this, Trent, but apparently there's a little dirty pool being played by the state here. So if you're underneath a rock, DCI has an investigation versus our two universities, had a bunch of players suspended. A lot of them took plea deals in what everyone expected. Well, one of the players, Hanukkah, didn't take a plea agreement. Oh, goodness. Isaiah Lee didn't take a plea agreement. And then the DN for the Broncos,
Ine Wazirike.
Thank you. He didn't. And they have lawyers involved. And all of a sudden, they're asking for discovery on how they discovered it. Well, what's coming out is that the state illegally acquired the GPS positions of certain usernames. So it wasn't just a blind, hey, we're going to get a warrant and then we're going to do the research and then find it and then it's investigated. They did all the research and they kind of go up to these sports books, which I think everything is news it is. If the state's going to go, hey, something illegal is going on, they're going to give the information without, the sports book is not going to be the one that's going to draw the line.
Yep.
Well, the state went in, got all the usernames illegally searched it. Then they had their case and then posted it. I mean, I think the state's going to look real fucking stupid soon enough. And just as well with that, the newest news from the NCAA side of it, after all of the punishment has been divvied out, now all of a sudden they are lessening the punishment. If you're, unless you're betting your own sport and your own team, it's going to lessen the punishment for everyone involved. So Iowa schools were basically the guinea pigs, and everyone else gets off not scot-free, but it's going to be a lot easier than these kids whose careers might have been ruined now.
They're going to get off scot-free because they're not going to do the investigations in other states.
Yeah, well, and especially with what's going on with the state, if they really hammer it home, what kind of other state DCI our gambling ring is going to go, hey, let's just really muddy the waters and get ourselves in here and let's see what happens.
Yeah, for sure.
With the NIL, some of these kids got money now, man. Like that you don't think they're going to see what happened with three of these guys that didn't take a plea agreement and all of a sudden fought back, and now they have a legit case and might. I mean, like I said, with who's the Broncos guy again? Say his name.
Ine Wazirike.
With him, he's got a legit. He was a rookie. That could be millions of his career out. Same thing with Hanukkah, Decker. Well, the kids who took pleas can, but Hanukkah, he didn't. Lee. I mean, those kids have legit. Those are career enders, and all of a sudden, state might be fucked.
Yeah, and it was Wazirike's lawyer that kind of flipped this around and is like, okay, now we're coming after you. So it was his lawyer that flipped this thing.
and like I said, I really hope I really hope something comes of it. Like I said, I think they need to show the money that was wasted to us taxpayers. Because if I'm going to be paying, taxes for some shit, it better not be going some stupid shit like that. That is, what was accomplished?
Yeah,
Absolutely nothing. You know.
exactly.
So, anyways, that one we'll kind of cover it more with our expert journalism over here. Just.
That's right.
But
We will get to the bottom of this.
We will.
That's right.
Just to get our anger out of the way, man. Iowa sneaks another one out, man. Iowa 26, Michigan State 16. Michigan did cover 12.5 when we had the spread at our last pod, and then the over of 36.5 hits. I think it was actually closed closer to like 9.5, 10. But still, Iowa pulled it out. They had a late punt return by Cooper. And Deacon Hill, I mean, he was the backup. I don't know if he's going to be great. He was kind of looking a little bit better than Cade McNamara was, and I think Cade's just been injured this whole year. But did you watch any of this game?
Just a little bit of it. We were busy Saturday with we went to the South Dakota State game and trying to catch some of the Iowa State games, so didn't get much of this. Saw a little bit, but yeah. So this backup quarterback that's in. I think the ceiling is just the same. Like they're still going to win 9 games just because McNamara did nothing. So this guy can do nothing and they can still win that many games, which as an Iowa State fan, I think disgusts me.
I think he's going to do more. I mean, you're going to open up where they had a couple tush pushes that went like 4 yards. Because the kid's basically a small lineman that's rushing up the middle with them,
Yeah.
There's some account, and this has to be high school numbers, but they're like tush push. Jalen Hurts squats 600 pounds, and they're like his number 6'3", 260, squats 355. I was like, that doesn't sound like a lot for a D1 athlete. I mean,
yeah, I'm guessing it's more.
Me and Joey were saying, we're like, didn't we squat more than that in high school? He's like, yeah, but we're also a foot shorter than him. It's like, well, true. You have about 8 less inches that you have to haul that weight up. So
yeah. Cooper DeJean returns that punt in the fourth quarter and gets that interception. Brian Ferentz, he better go find Phil Parker and LeVar Woods and kiss them right on the mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, if it weren't for those guys, the defensive coordinator and the special teams coordinator, again, as an Iowa State fan, it disgusts me because I am so freaking jealous that they can win these games. Yeah. It's crazy.
It's just like it's like the cherry on top that they add on everything. Because I mean it's I don't know. I think and again I think it looks good. I think if they keep winning, it just makes our loss look even better. But I mean they're gonna stumble into 9 wins. The biggest ones are going to be I mean probably Wisconsin. You just have to with the talent, even if it's a new coach with Fickle. I mean, Minnesota maybe is the toughest game coming up for them. But I mean, it's like you also have the thing. It's like Fleck has always choked that game away. So until I see it, that's another Iowa win. They take Rosedale home.
And wasn't it Minnesota that just got beat by Northwestern? So, I mean, I don't see them being much of a challenge. I don't know. They can't be that good if they're getting beat by Northwestern. So I can't imagine, though, David, who is usually on this podcast, was there.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, when that punt return happened in the fourth quarter, I bet that was freaking electric. Like I don't know, that was
think
awesome.
He might have been. He was either the farthest corner away, or he was because it was a corner on his side of the end zone. I think he might have been in the corner that it was coming towards.
Yeah, dude, that would have been awesome. I'm jealous of that, man.
So I wasn't able to update the ticker at the bottom, but for the points per game tracker, the road to 325 that he's not going to hit. He's currently averaging 22.2 points a game, 19.4 by the offense because they've had 14 points scored by the defense and that with 2 touchdowns and a safety.
Yep.
I don't count any of the field goals, even though one of their field goals they scored was on a drive that went -5 yards this game.
God.
I mean, that's the thing where it's just like, if I was an Iowa fan, I would absolutely love it. As a State fan, I just
Yep.
just
Yep. For sure.
just fucking terrible. But I would say that I have nothing more. I don't want to keep shitting on them because again, they won, we lost, whatever. But
yep.
let me see here. We were talking a little bit Kirby Smart, and again, I think they're slowly realizing the SEC isn't as good as this year. I mean, I think the Pac-12 has really jumped up. SEC is a bit down. Big Ten is exactly where it needs to be. But Kirby Smart's starting to pump up those numbers, talking about every team should be ranked in the SEC, he says, because no one, even ranked opponents in other conferences, wouldn't want to play our teams, you know?
Even Vanderbilt, huh?
Vanderbilt's got him worried here. I have a list here of every team should be ranked in the SEC. Here's some of the non-con Power 5 losses they have. Florida lost to Utah. Alabama lost to Texas. Arkansas lost to BYU. LSU lost to Florida State. A&M lost to Miami. Vanderbilt lost to UNLV and Wake Forest.
Oh my God.
South Carolina lost to North Carolina. Who the fuck does he think this conference is that they deserve everyone ranked in? Sadly, I think we had the same conversation last year because it sparks from why the fuck is 3-2 LSU ranked?
Yeah, and they're all going to get a cupcake game here in about 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to play us except for the teams that beat all of us in the non-conference. Okay, whatever.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's just so frustrating because, like, you know how bad it is for me personally. I almost want to bring back the BCS where it is no bias, personnel that are just voting these voters. Just bring in a computer.
Yep.
So some of the early projections now. The BCS usually came out like week 8 because it needed enough data to like produce good numbers. After week 4, someone has the formula or whatever where like with BCS would be right now. Miami would be number 1. So the BCS isn't perfect either 4 weeks in. But you know what he didn't have? 2 lost teams in the top 25.
Yeah, LSU sitting at 23 at 3-2. They lost 10 spots. And all that does, they play Missouri Saturday. All that does is it puts them in a position to move back up. Because I feel like if they had dropped them out, it'd have been harder to put them back in when they beat Missouri. But they're already in now, so they can move back up.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Missouri, they're 5-0. They're ranked 21. Who knows? Maybe they'll beat LSU too. I don't see it happening, but it could.
And that's fine. If Missouri is 5-0, they're 5-0. They beat people in front.
Yep.
When you lose 40% of your games, and Joey was right. You got to look at competition too, because Maryland's not ranked either, and they play dog shit competition. But you know what they've done is they're 5-0 and they haven't played with their food and they've won every single game.
Yeah.
You know? So I agree with Matthews just putting here BCS with the playoffs would be the perfect formula. I agree. If you had to have certain tie-ins where it was, conference champs, I think they're still going to do the one G5 champ, and then the at-larges. The at-larges get too much at play. I think it'll be interesting that first year when it comes up because you're going to have a lot of SEC Big Ten teams that have kind of cannibalized each other that they think should get in over these. The 12-1 Duke, some of these teams that are out of, that should be in, but they're going to have real conversations why a 9-3 Alabama deserves to get in. So that's where it's almost, I wish it was still around just as like a factor of like, hey, here's the human factor. Here's the computer. Can we find somewhere in the middle? Because I just think these biases, we as Big 12 fans, we bitch about it every year. I think deservedly, but we just cry baby pee pants about like no one respects the Big 12 or Kansas State when they've been good, or any of the teams that are basically not the brand names Oklahoma, Texas, and it is just that much tougher to get into the playoffs when it's supposed to be expanding to give the little guy a shot.
Yep.
Now we're not saying the 25th ranked Iowa State, if they somehow pulled it out, deserves It still needs to be a top 12, 14 team, depending on how it
Yeah.
breaks down. But the point is to like get variety because remember, we're all sick of Clemson, Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia being the only 4 teams that basically get the chance.
Yep. And yeah, I was looking at the rankings here, and Kentucky at 5-1 or 5-0. They played Georgia this week. They're at 20. Now they're going to lose, and if they lose to another SEC team, Georgia, do you think that the committee drops them out of the top 25, or think they just like, oh, we'll just move them down 3, like after they get beat by 50 this weekend?
Well, remember, actually, shit, it just changed. It just changed last week. But Georgia was one of the teams that had won all their games but never covered a spread. So I don't think Kentucky's going to be that bad because I think Carson Beck is good. I don't know if he's going to be able to dominate them good.
Yeah.
Sorry, Matthew. Can't respect the Big 12 and they lose to Mizzou. I'll agree with that. This is just hypothetical, man. But I think Kentucky drops out. You know why? Because Kentucky's a basketball school, so they're going to drop Kentucky out. It's real. It just feels like it's more like if you're a good football team and there's a brand. I don't know, man. I kind of like watching college poll tracker that tells you what reporters vote for what, and you just see some of these numbskulls that are just like, oh, oops, I put in Arizona State instead of Arizona, or oops, I kept LSU at 20 this week because I forgot they lost. Like, I don't know if that's the quality we're going to have. Maybe they either need to push it out a day so everyone can watch games, or get new people in because some of those voters are just terrible.
So speaking of good teams beating basketball schools and the basketball school dropping out,
what a tie-in there.
So resident Texas fan Torres here. I got a call from him. I got a call from him like first thing Sunday. So this was hot off the press. Okay.
Shit. Yeah.
Texas beat Kansas. Kansas, they fall out. They're not for real. Well, they didn't have the quarterback either.
Yeah, I got that. Go ahead, though.
So, is Texas back?
Are they? No.
Nope. Not back. They are not back. And again, Torres, he will let me know when they are. And as you can see in this picture here, he's all decked out in Texas with the Longhorn polo, the bucket hat. He's got the Beats by Dre boombox in the golf cart here.
Oh, my Lord.
I mean,
he's got a little bit of everything.
He does. And yeah, I mean, he's a huge Texas fan. So I figure, I mean, every other Texas fan saying they're back. He's saying they're not. So I got to take it from him.
Well, I'm going to agree with him because here's the list of the quarterbacks that Texas has faced so far this year where they've been, and they've been dominating like they should. They've faced 3-time transfer JT Daniels. They faced Alabama's worst quarterback in 15 years. I think that's an exaggeration. I also think that's kind of true, man, because he's been benched since that game. He's back, but he's at least been benched. They've played Wyoming's backup, and they struggled to get the lead until the fourth. Baylor's backup, and we've seen Baylor this year, and then KU's backup that put up the best fight, but again, not Jalen Daniels or Jaden Dan. I get the names mixed up, but anyways. They haven't played a true quarterback, and that's going to change this weekend when they play Gabriel. Now, I would say I really am struggling on this one because I think we have a recency bias of just watching the whole Oklahoma game. But I don't know. That's going to be the best game of the weekend, easily.
Yeah. So between these two teams, one of them's going to get a loss here. And I think that it's going to be them two in the Big 12 championship. And that's
right now
going to
be
fucking unbearable. It's just going to be the two SEC teams in the Big 12 championship, and it's going to be terrible.
As long as it boosts the Big 12 ratings and we get the money from it, that's fine. Whatever.
Yep, sure.
They're gone next year. This is going to be out of left field here, but speaking of Oklahoma, They posted this stat on the Iowa State broadcast, and I just sunk in my chair and just put my hand in my face because I was so embarrassed by this one. The best win percentage all time of one program versus another. I don't know if this is Power 5 or not, but in fifth place, as we talked about what Iowa State's was, but in fifth place, Notre Dame versus Navy. Notre Dame has a over 85% winning percentage. Michigan, Indiana. Michigan has 85.9. Notre Dame was 85.6. Ohio State over Minnesota. They've won 86.8% of the time. Oklahoma, Iowa State has won 90.9% of the time. The only worst all-time record is Oregon versus Idaho, and it's 91.5. It's almost 0.5%. So it's not the worst win percent. Just imagine if we hadn't had Campbell and won 2 games, it would be the worst of all time.
Yep.
That is incredibly bad, man.
So
good
bad.
riddance. Get the Boomers out of here. I'm ready for BYU and Utah and Arizona State. Those are true Big 12 teams.
Yeah. Get out of here,
God
Boomer.
damn it. Oh shit. Well, let's get on to next week's games. I don't want to go carry on too much this week here.
Whoa. Speaking about this past weekend's game. Oh, we got one.
Let's hear it.
FCS, baby.
Oh yeah, shit. I apologize. I meant to bring this up here. Who played, Trent?
My South Dakota State Jackrabbits. I went to the game in Brookings.
Yep.
And South Dakota State beat North Dakota, the number 11 team in the nation, 42-21. It was more like 42-7. There were a couple garbage time touchdowns in there. I haven't been to a college football game since the Iowa State doesn't take a knee debacle in Manhattan, Kansas. That was the last game I was at. Great atmosphere, sold out. Obviously, reigning national champions, number 1 in the nation. The stadium holds about 20,000 people.
Yeah.
I mentioned it to Katrina on the way home. I was like, that was so enjoyable. It wasn't like, going to an Iowa State game or an Oklahoma game or whatever, where there's 70,000 people there. You have to park 2 miles away. It was great. I enjoyed every minute of it. Beer sales in the stadium. So I got me a Fernson Brewing Ears Up Jackrabbits beer. Enjoyed a couple of those during the game. But just a great experience being at this littler, smaller stadium. It was awesome. Now, that being said, South Dakota State's number 1. North Dakota Fighting Hawks, not North Dakota State. They got beat by the USD Coyotes on Saturday, by the way. So just the difference between number 1 and number 11 in FCS, there's a difference in those 10 rankings. You could just tell South Dakota State was bigger, stronger, more. There's the Ears Up by Fernson. Yes.
Zoom in a little bit more. Does that?
Oh yeah, delicious beer. You could just tell that there was a talent gap. The players are bigger. South Dakota State, they just ran the ball up the middle all day and ended up with like 250 yards rushing. So, it was fun. Glad I went, and I would love to go back, but every game's sold out. Because
real quick, because the game was on ESPN Plus, and I had it on kind of on my iPad on the side. Did you notice any big delays due to TV timeouts and stuff?
There were a lot. I feel like even at that level, and even just being on ESPN Plus and not like a network, there were some TV timeouts, and they were kind of lengthy.
That's the big thing, and I was going to ask Dave the same thing about, because probably the Iowa-Michigan State game would have been the worst, because you could feel it even on this side. It just, I was switching between the Iowa State and the Iowa game, and it felt like every time I changed the NBC, it was a commercial, or there was not football being played. Is all I'm getting at. There was one time it was okay. Michigan State's punting, and I changed the channel when it was fourth down. They were getting ready to punt, so I could watch Iowa State. Iowa State shit the bed, and there was a couple big chunk Oklahoma plays. I didn't want to see the touchdown. Changed back to NBC about in real time. It felt like 4 to 5 minutes, and Iowa had already 3 and out and punted again.
Yeah, it's yeah, it did get kind of lengthy. Now the game, South Dakota State ran the ball. That's all they didn't need to pass the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So the game went fairly quick in that aspect. I think the first half, they went into halftime. I took out my phone and looked. I was like, I think the game started at 2. I was like, it's 3:27.
Yeah.
Just because they ran the ball all day.
Holy hell. So that is a fast game then, dude.
Yeah. Matthews, why do the Dakotas own the FCS?
Nothing else to do out there, bud.
Yeah, football.
We're
the SEC of the FCS.
Yeah. See, he always makes fun of Iowans because there's nothing to do in Iowa. Now imagine small town Iowa. That's just the big cities in the Dakotas. We can even talk shit about that, I feel.
Excuse me?
Yeah, I'll talk some shit. Little Brandon up there, I can...
Excuse me?
Looks like New York City.
We have the number 1 ranked wrestler in the nation right here in Brandon.
What weight?
Heavyweight.
Okay.
He hasn't committed yet because he's being looked at for football too, but I'm guessing he'll end up going to Iowa for wrestling, if I had to guess.
Yeah. Why not both?
Probably could. If he wins if he wins the state championship this year, he's a senior, I believe. Mm-hmm. He will be the 3rd or 4th wrestler to win 6 state championships. He won a state championship when he was in 7th grade.
Oh, okay. There we go. I was like, how does that? No, that makes sense.
In high school.
Yeah, the high school. So he's won 6 state titles.
5 right now.
And it'll be the third or 4th, nation or in the state?
All time in South Dakota.
In South Dakota?
Yeah.
That'd be interesting to know how many 6-time state champions there's overall. Because, you also got to balance out that, Iowa is predominantly very good at wrestling. So there's not going to be a lot of junior high kids that can compete at the high school level,
Yeah, that's just how dominant this guy is.
Huh. I'll have to look that up. Joey, look up the stats when you listen to this and let me and Trent know how we're thinking about it.
Yeah, and you just say Brandon. We also have Sioux Falls, the nicest city in the United States.
They don't have any freight up there. That's all my truck drivers tell me. So if you get
I see TMC trucks every once in a while. You just watch it.
Driving empty. We don't got nothing up there, man.
You see those empty flatbeds going by Brandon on the interstate.
So if you could book more freight, that'd be appreciated up there, man.
Well, as a nuclear medicine technologist, I'll see what I can find.
Hey, you can. If it's a pile of dog shit, as long as it pays well, we'll haul it for you.
Do you have to strap it down?
Yeah, that's what we'll do.
If Ryan were on here, he'd be talking about the Black Hills. Does Iowa have the Black Hills?
What's that?
Said if Ryan was on here, he'd be talking about the Black Hills.
Oh yeah.
Does Iowa have that?
No, we in fact do not.
You don't have a hill.
We have the hills of Denison and Schleswig, though. If you've been out there, that's quite a bit of a.
Or Boone.
That's quite a bit.
Ski down in Boone.
True. Yeah, we have the one hill with all the fake snow on it all the time.
Yeah.
We have 2 big hills in the state. So,
mm-hmm.
So you're in fact correct. We do not have hills. I apologize.
We have mountains. They're just as far away in South Dakota as you can get from where I live.
Yeah.
Literally 5 hours.
Well, just if you wait until we put some faces on the side of a hill, you're done for as a state. Mount Rushmore, what is all people would say?
Who you put? So Iowa. Who you putting on Iowa's Mount Rushmore? Let's hear it.
From the state of Iowa?
I don't know any Iowa legend.
You probably got to put Dan Gable up there at least.
Ronald Reagan.
Ronald, was he from Iowa? Well, he was born in Iowa.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll claim him. Why not?
All right.
I'm trying to think of a good jokey one, but I can't. I'm trying to think of anyone from Iowa State that stayed from the state of Iowa.
Yeah.
You can put Seneca Wallace on there. Doesn't matter if he's not.
Josie Jewell. Okay.
Josie. There we go.
Jesus.
Oh, fuck. I'm trying to even think of. We'll put Brock Purdy up there too. He's not from the state, but he's made enough of a difference.
If he keeps doing what he's doing, it might be up there.
Kid's undefeated in the regular. The kid is undefeated in every game he has started and finished.
Yes.
Oh, it's funny hearing all the Iowa State fans that like their professional team. Unless you're like a Chiefs fan too, then you kind of have the balance. Like the Iowa State and Vikings fans and Bears fans and kind of Green Bay fans right now. All of them are just like, Brock Purdy, please save my weekend, because like every other team just dog shit. We can't even root for because the Jets are bad too.
So yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. Now the Jets, and when they lose, it's not just because they're bad. Like it doesn't hurt because they're bad and they have all these Iowa State players. It's because if it weren't for Brock Purdy, Iowa State wouldn't have been what they were those 4 years. So like to me, I'm such a big Iowa State fan, huge Brock Purdy fan. The Vikings have lost 3 games this year. I think it would hurt worse to me if the 49ers lost just because of Brock Purdy. I honestly do. I am not joking. If Brock Purdy lost, like that's going to hurt worse to me than the Vikings, just because the Vikings have already lost 3 times. And I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, how are we going to screw this up? Like it's the nut cup effect, like how are we going to do this? We're going to get kicked in the nuts somehow being a Vikings fan. So I think it's going to hurt worse when Brock loses, and it's going to happen. I mean,
But
it could happen this week.
By the way, Niners have scored 30 points every game this season. So take 30 plus as your team total versus the Cowboys. They lost to the Cardinals. They're not gonna beat the Niners, man. Niners have too many weapons.
Yeah.
So over 29.5 points for team total of 49ers. Printing money. I'm giving it to everyone for free here.
It's your best bet right there. Where's what's his name? Don Play.
Hey, Don.
He's always looking for bets.
Yeah. Let's move on to the Iowa game if you don't mind.
Purdue we kind of got off there.
Oh, so. You're good. Purdue +2 at Iowa, over under 38.5. I'm going to be shocked the next time an Iowa game has an over under of over 40 points. It's going to be amazing. Like they're going to. I think Iowa fans will legit celebrate when the over under hits over 40 and you finally they start respecting the offense. But
yeah,
this is where this new money has got to suck a little bit. This game is at 2:30 and only on Peacock. I mean, I guess it's the same as like ESPN Plus, but I feel like ESPN Plus is kind of like if you got Hulu or if you're into UFC, you kind of got ESPN Plus already. This is exclusively, hey, here's a brand new streaming service that you have to have, and unless you are Joey and love The Office and have Peacock, I feel like this is one of the smaller players in the streaming services right now.
Yeah, I don't have it.
I don't know.
Is it when it's on Peacock? Is it only on?
So like this weekend, it was
streaming or
when it's on NBC, it is also streaming on Peacock. This one exists exclusively because NBC is not going to show it. It's only on Peacock.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm going to assume, I don't know when Notre Dame plays what time. I'm going to assume Notre Dame plays at that time.
Okay. You're probably right. Yeah, because Notre Dame still has like the whole NBC rights thing,
I guess it kind of depends because they're playing 25 Louisville. Maybe they're going to be on ESPN or something. But, yeah, I mean, I think with this one, Purdue, they've had their kind of ups and downs this year. I think the next easiest bet is just going to be Iowa covering. I think with Deacon Hill, with the new quarterback that, no offense, proved that he could at least throw the tight ends, and I didn't notice his mobility or anything. He's a bigger guy, and I know he can do the tush pushes if we need to. I just think with having a new face in there and Brian now realizing he's on the backup quarterback, sadly, I think that's going to force him to kind of let it rip, if you will, and just get something going on this offense. Because This will probably be a game. I have this weird feeling that Iowa is going to score a defensive touchdown again this week. We actually called that last week, if you remember. We were talking about Michigan State, and I'm like, this feels like the weekend where they get a defensive score because, we've been shitting on the offense so much. But this feels like another game where the defense scores again.
Yeah, I agree. And again, Brian Ferentz is going to be. I think he'll be saved by it again. If it weren't for that special teams play last week, they would have lost.
Yeah,
I think he'll be saved by it again. And
yeah, because I mean, they hadn't proved they could really drive the ball at that point. I know at the end of the game when it was kind of given up when they got the field goal, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like this one's going to be pretty well in hand.
Yeah, on two guys named Chris on Iowa Everywhere.
Yeah,
Chris Hassel, a huge Hawkeye fan, and he said that why would they kick it to him there, that punt? Yeah. Why kick that thing out of bounds? Iowa ain't moving the ball. Iowa would have lost that game.
Yeah,
if that punter kicks that out of bounds.
We're not saying Deshaun Cooper is Deshaun or Dijon Cooper is not Deshaun Jackson, but that was the only thing that could Michigan State hadn't done anything to prove our special teams can get this done, our defense can get it done. You just shit the bed, and that's sadly I think we're not having your head coach there because he's too busy getting up to everything else in the off season. I think that's where the head coach being gone really comes out to shine. Hey, we absolutely just screwed this one.
Yep. Oh, Cooper Dijon. There you go. Sam. Now he's on it.
Dijon mustard.
Yeah.
Cooper Dijon mustard. Sorry. That's where we need to have these Iowa fans here to correct us. They're normal.
I know.
Yep. So get mad at Joey and Dave here, guys.
Not us.
I'm more worried about the Cooper on Iowa State's team. That DB.
The better defensive back. You got it.
Yeah. Did you know that Purdue actually leads the all-time series on this? They lead Iowa 50-40-3, but Ferentz is 12-8 versus Purdue, 2-4 the last 6 years.
Yeah, was it 2 years ago that Iowa was ranked number 2 in the nation, and that wide receiver just goes off for 200 yards on them, and wasn't it Purdue? And
no, it was. I'm trying to think of that because I was right. I was down in Missouri hanging out with Joey that day, and hanging next to an Iowa fan during that massacre was not a fun time. He wasn't super upset. How could this happen? He wasn't shocked. It was just a bad day.
Yeah. Come on. I bet Sam Bricker remembers.
Sam, who was the guy that broke your guys' heart?
Yeah, come on.
Wide receiver for Purdue.
If I remember right, he had 200 yards that game.
Yeah, it was 250.
I don't see that happening this week. I really don't. Iowa's going to win.
Yeah, I think it's going to be free money. You put Iowa to cover 2 right now. I mean, I don't see how they don't. Purdue has not been great. And
so 20-18, roughly, over under on that. Because Purdue plus 2.
Charlie Jones, that was it. He had the return touchdown for the Bengals, I think. Oh, there was a penalty on it, but he's on the Bengals now.
Yeah, didn't he have other huge games that year against other big team, highly ranked teams, if I remember right?
I think he played well versus Syracuse. I can't remember the other games that he played, but
I said highly ranked teams, Bryant.
Hey, Syracuse went bowling last year. They were highly ranked until they ran into the freight train that was Clemson at Clemson, and they only lost. No, never mind. That wasn't the year they lost by 1. They were beat handily. Here.
I had to go there. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm a little sensitive about my Orange Men. It's our Orange, not Orange Men. They got canceled a few years ago because it was gendered fruit. So we can't.
Gendered fruit.
We're not orange men. We're orange. Come on.
Orange people.
Yeah, orange. Exactly.
Well, don't you can't say that because I mean the last president we had, he was kind of orange.
No,
jeez,
he was an orange man. That's why they changed it.
Yeah.
Shit. TCU 6.5 point favorite at Iowa State, over under 52.5. That's shockingly large from what we've seen in the pass.
Yeah.
7 o'clock on the big old FS2 network.
At least we're not on the cock.
Oh, true. Yeah, we're not on the cock. We cannot be found exclusively on the cock.
Yeah. Some people will be able to find this on their regular cable.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. The 52.5, that does seem a little high now that Iowa State has proven that they can score.
Yeah.
I don't know if that plays into this. TCU 6.5. I'm kind of surprised it's that low. I'm
Oh, okay. I
surprised
was
it's
gonna
not.
say. I thought you were saying you were shocked it was that high. I was like, really? That seems like almost free money to bet the over.
No. Sorry, I'm talking about TCU 6.5. I thought it'd be, double digits. 10.
Oh, I got you.
I'm surprised the 6.5 is that low. Actually,
63% of the money is on TCU money line. It's about 50-50 on the spread who covers it. The total, 83% of the population has the under of 52.5.
wow,
The line has gone up 3 points since it came out.
really?
And considering that TCU, let's see here, they've had a game where they scored 87 total points versus Colorado, 50 total points versus Houston, 51 total points SMU, and 47 total points in West Virginia. If we don't hit an over, I'm going to be disappointed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we put up 20 real quick against Oklahoma and then didn't do anything the rest of the game.
Yeah.
I think Iowa State can score on
Mhm.
this defense. I really do. But can't take the foot off the gas. Hopefully they can keep up with them. I mean, the betting geniuses must think they can, or else, it wouldn't be 6.5.
Well, and I know Colorado is way more prolific offense as well, but I feel like we're going to have a better defense than them. I don't know. Between that, it's Jack Trice Day. I think a lot of these kids.
Yeah.
I hope they remember that shellacking they got last year down in Fort Worth. I think all that combined, I'm going to continue putting on my Iowa State cap. Shocker, but I think Iowa State wins this one by at least a touchdown.
I hope you're right.
So I mean, well, because if we can break off those runs with Abu Sama, whoever's honestly it doesn't matter who the running. If we can at least get a couple runs, get that relief where they aren't just bringing the heat every single time, we're going to be just fine. Our Higgins and Noel have proven to be very good receivers that can get into the wide open space and have the speed to break away. We just got to have that time.
Yep.
I know that Brahmer, Easton Dean hasn't been too involved in the passing game from what I've seen, but that Brahmer's been doing pretty well. He's been getting a few snags.
Yeah, I mean, they've been really high on the tight ends this year. Some people say this is the most talented tight end room that they've had, which is kind of surprising. But yeah, with Charlie Kohler and Chase Allen, I don't know how, but that's what these coaches are really high on these guys. And I don't know, with this whole before 2 games ago when they were just pound the ball, they would have 3 tight end sets, but they were just in there to run the ball. So I don't know, I'd like to see him get more involved in the passing game.
I was just looking down the list. I forgot Daniel Jackson as well. He had a huge game versus Oklahoma State. I mean, we got 3 legit receivers that have 200 plus yards. Let's spread the ball out. I'm hoping that's going to be enough, especially for a defense that allows all those points. If we can get them confused and we can get a couple stops, I know this defense, as much as we shit on them, should be able to do. I think we're going to be just fine, man.
Yeah.
So I would probably bet the over 2. I think it's probably going to be a shootout this whole game.
Yeah. So what would that be? 52.5 at 6.5. That'd be like 29-23 ish.
31-23. No, it would be
29-23.
Well, 6.5.
6 to 6.5. So yeah, I mean,
yeah. So 30.
I could see the over hitting on this.
Yeah.
So
just get out of here. But yes, there is special uniforms.
Jesus.
Jerseys. Let me see here. I'm just pulling up because we've had a couple in the past that honestly looked fucking awful.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I love the helmets.
Yeah, the Ames ones.
The Ames script lettering helmets. I love those.
They sold those at the local Hy-Vee here. I bought one specifically. It just the Ames looks so clean on it, man.
Is it a
But
mini helmet or full size?
Mini helmet.
Oh, if it were full size, I'd be all in. I'd be like, go buy me one now.
Fuck yeah. But yeah, I love the Ames. I will. Some people are saying we should replace our jerseys with these ones. I'm not going to go that far, but
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
these
They're
look a lot cleaner than the ones for I think from like 2012.
they're cool for a game.
Yeah,
Now the helmet, keep the helmet.
yeah, I'd be all for the keeping the Ames helmet.
Yes,
Um,
that would
have you
be sick with those black uniforms. The white Ames helmet.
have you noticed that they've put the handwriting "I will" on the back of their
Mhm.
helmets all year? That's looked pretty legit too.
Yep.
So in case you hadn't seen it, those I would say those are the new Jack Trice uniforms we're gonna wear. I'm assuming one time only. Sell the proceeds. That's typically how they do those uniforms. Wear one time, sell it off to the rich donors, and then make our money's worth back from it.
Unfortunately, I'm not one of those people.
Yeah, yeah. If I was, I would. Yeah, I guess I wish I was. This is going to be a long list here, so don't be intimidated here, Trent. But here's all the kind of ranked top games that I found over the weekend. Because the first one I do want to discuss 12 Oklahoma, 6.5 point underdog at number 3 Texas over under 60. But undefeated Maryland's 20 point underdog at Ohio State. That'll be their first competition. From the list here, do you have any game other than our two state teams? Is there any other one that you're for sure going to have to make room for in the schedule?
Oklahoma, Texas, keep it in the Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we're gonna get this game. They're both undefeated, and then we're gonna get this game again in the Big 12 championship. I'm calling it now. So interested to
Until
see who
someone
wins
steps
this.
up.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody in the Big 12 has.
You know who, oddly enough, is kind of stepping up right now? I don't know if he'll get them all the way there, but West Virginia.
I was gonna say West Virginia, actually. Yeah.
They've been sneaky decent this year out of fucking left field. And, like, it proves that if you hire any coach, you need to give him at least 3 years. This is Neil Brown's 5th year, right? 4th or 5th?
Yeah.
But
How long has
Shocker,
Holgerson been at Houston? Probably 4 years. Yeah.
4 or 5 years. So I think this is year 5 for him. I can't remember off the top of my head, but shocker, you give a guy time to implement his system, get all of his players that he wants in there. This is everyone's got to remember this isn't like Dion where he could do it instantly and it was fine. He's finally getting all his players, and like any other coach, combating getting transfers to not leave West Virginia. And shocker, trust the process, and all of a sudden the Mountaineers are actually looking pretty decent now.
Yeah. Yeah. And was that last year that was Iowa State's only Big 12 win?
Yeah, actually it was.
Yeah.
And now look where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think you know what, fuck it. I think Oklahoma wins. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to win by a lot, but I think they beat Texas just because Texas, I don't know if you want to say they're playing with their food. They haven't proven that they can just pull away and they're going to dominate a team. Probably the only game they've done that is Alabama, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
Every other game they've kind of failed to show up. I don't know. I like the Kentucky at number 1 Georgia. That just doesn't seem like a fun matchup because it's Georgia has struggled versus ever. I say struggled like they're winning, but it's not like I don't know. It seems like they can kind of zombie walk through and they're going to be just fine. But
Yeah. And now, and I get it. It's a ranked opponent, but it's Kentucky.
yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
It's Kentucky.
Yeah.
I don't know. They struggled versus Auburn last week, so maybe there's some light at the end of the tunnel. Otherwise, the only other ones I would really, I don't know, 10 Notre Dame at 25 Louisville. I think Notre Dame covers that one. Louisville looked awful versus North Carolina State, and they're 5-0. They're one of these teams I'm saying rah rah we should rank, But guess what? They lose the next week like they will versus Notre Dame. You can take them back out. That's fine. But you're rewarding the teams that actually win and with the teams on their schedule and everything else. The only other one I kind of want to see I haven't watched a lot of Fresno State this year. They decimated Arizona State a couple weeks ago, to a point where I was like, I wanted to stay up at 1 to watch more football, and I saw that score. I was like, I'm done. I don't need to watch the rest of this game.
I was actually just going to ask: is this one of those late night games that we can just turn on when we're going to bed?
It's just a game on. Those are the perfect ones, man.
Yeah, I like that.
You know what? I haven't seen many. Well, shit, I forgot there's the wildfires out there. I was gonna say I haven't seen any Hawaii games. Are they still playing this year?
I'm assuming.
We might have to do some research on that because usually that's the Hawaii game. They're like either just starting kickoff or it's still super early into the game. Let's see your schedule.
Maybe they've been playing all road games in the continental United States. So they haven't been late.
Yes, they have. Well, they're playing San Diego State at home starting at 10 p.m. tonight, so we'll finally get our Hawaii game late in the evening.
Tonight?
No, Saturday. I'm sorry.
Okay. Did you see that tonight is the last night of no football for the next 50 days?
Yesterday was. Tonight there's football.
Oh, there is? Okay, so tonight's the first night of football for the next 50 days.
I'm fucking stoked for it, man. I'm so stoked I got the under of 49.5 in the New Mexico State Florida International game. I got $10 on that thing.
Oh man.
Oh, it's just one of these things. Someone like the reason I went on that game, man. I look at both of those teams. They're like 8-2 in the unders, and they're 5 games apiece. And it's like New Mexico State it's like the slowest tempo in the country. I was like, someone could make that up. I'm not even looking at the facts, but I go, sounds good. I'm hitting that under. And so far, it's winning me money. Now it's
who's going to study New Mexico State?
Yeah, well, real quick, what's their mascot?
The Aggies.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, so I can see it.
Florida International.
Florida International, are they like the Panthers or something like that?
Yeah. Holy shit, you watch these games?
I'm good. New Mexico State, who is their coach? Big name guy. Jerry Kill. Kill, isn't it?
I'm gonna trust you.
It was last year, the year before. I gotta look Jerry Kill up.
Yeah, because I know he's kind of been jumping around.
Yeah.
I'm getting it pulled up here. Sorry.
New Mexico State, 2022 to present.
There we go.
Yeah.
Jerry Kill, hell of a guy, eating ice cream on the snowy sidelines. That's what he's best known for.
Big Jerry Kill fan when he was at Minnesota.
One of the top searches for Jerry Kill is ice cream. I fucking love. I'm sorry. I gotta open this up and share it because
why
I know we don't have. What's that?
Why is his Wikipedia picture not him eating ice cream on the sideline in the snow?
That's what I'm saying.
There you go.
Every time I gotta look at it because it just puts a smile on my face.
Yep.
Fucking image, man. Everyone, the little quarterback shivering in his giant bundly jacket, and then a guy in like a throw over with a baseball cap, not even a winter cap, but just a baseball cap, and eating an ice cream cone. Or
you know where Jerry Kill
Haagen-Dazs ice cream bar.
Might be a Dilly bar.
Yeah, Dilly bar is probably closer. Remember when Dilly Dilly was a thing and everyone thought that was the craziest fucking
Dilly.
What we're just too easily influenced in this country, man. Dilly. What I mean, I still see people like koozies and shit, like wearing the Dilly shirts.
Yeah.
Congrats, you had $20 once, and now you don't, and you have a stupid ass T-shirt for a motto that lasted like 4 months.
Didn't Iowa State have a student section Dilly thing for basketball?
Why? Why? Like if we had a player that was like, who's Dellavedova? Matthew Dellavedova? Like if there's Deli, like if we had a player that it made sense.
Yeah.
Deli. Okay, now I can get behind it.
Yep.
But we don't. So that just infuriates me, man. Stupid people getting rich off of something like that.
Yeah.
And then there's the Bud Knight. God,
Bud Knight. It's
some
all the
terrible
Super Bowl
advertising.
commercials, man.
Yeah.
It's all it is.
All stupid people thinking they're smart with the dillies and shit.
And here we are talking about it 8
2
years
years later, I still remember
Yeah,
it. That's the
Jesus.
worst part.
Yeah.
It's like the game when someone reminds you of it from high school, how many years ago, and it's like, are you fucking kidding me? I haven't thought about it in this long, and now it's here. So sorry if anyone had been playing the game and now been reminded of the game, but now you're reminded. So, but alrighty. Well, anything else you want to chat about, or any other picks you want to give out for Don plays before we head out here, Trent?
Ooh. Don't know if I have anything for Don play. South Dakota State plays, I think, Illinois State, going back to the FCS.
Jackrabbits cover.
Oh, by 50. Let's see. Where's athletics here? I think it's Illinois State. And then I think they play UNI the week after at home in Brookings. That'd be an awesome game to go to. Yeah. Illinois State at 6 p.m. I'm going to have to catch that one.
All right. Well, what channel is it on? Does it say?
Probably ESPN Plus,
Everyone,
if I had to guess.
Don't tune into Georgia. Don't tune into Notre Dame. South Dakota
Tune
State,
in to the real #1 team in the nation.
Yeah. That would be kind of cool. Exhibition game. And if starters want to say how they can, #1 FCS, #1 FBS.
Oh,
and
God.
just see the trouncing.
Now, really, I mean, Georgia's probably played less competition this year in a game.
True.
You know, South Dakota State would probably give them more of a game than some of their other teams.
Have you heard the rumor going around? Actually, we're about to wrap up now, so I'm getting inspiration spark. Have you heard of, like, because, you know, we talk about South Dakota State, North Dakota State, why don't they join the big leagues, you know? Have you heard about the Mountain West and everything? Now, I don't think they'd add more teams. They are in the range, though, but they've talked about joining the Pac-2, picking up some schools, and kind of doing a relegation league.
Who it? Like, just like FCS schools?
Yeah, no, the Mountain West.
Oh, the Mountain West.
Would pick up Oregon State and Washington State.
Yeah.
They would keep the Pac-12 name and namesake, and to keep them competitive and within the playoffs and the Power 5 status, they would have like a relegation-style soccer league, so that the top, whatever, I think it would be 16 teams. The top 16 teams, or I'm sorry, top 8 would be in the Pac-12, and then the bottom 8 would be in the Mountain West. And wins and losses and all that shit, like, it would basically be the bottom 2 from the Pac-12 would relegate, and then they'd bring up the top 2 Mountain West teams.
So they just go back and forth.
Yeah. But, like, there's some fighting against it because, like, obviously, you know, if you're an athletic director, you're counting on, like, for us, $28 million is going to come in this year. But, like, if you're going to have relegation, hey, it's going to be $12 million. Just kidding. Now it's 5. You know, there's going to be this huge discrepancy on how much these teams can make in one league or another.
I think it's weird that they keep both conferences named depending on how good you are.
Yeah, that was the one thing I was interested in, is like,
because then how do you do basketball? How do you do other athletics? How do you do other sports?
Well, I think you also gotta look at. I think football would be completely different because I kind of agree with all of it. I think, like, the money making sports, men's basketball, women's didn't make money. Women's basketball and men's football, I think those should stay in these new leagues. And I think everything else should just be regionalized. Minimize the cost of travel, you know, unless you want to create what's the top soccer matchup. I don't even care. North Carolina, UCLA. Okay, make that an event. You know, kind of like Nebraska did. They have a very good volleyball school. They made a huge event one time and it sold out and it brought the interest to it. You can create events like that and then cut down on these Olympic sports costs everywhere else.
Yeah. Because it'd be like, oh, hey, sorry, who's in the Mountain West? Boise State. You didn't do very good in football this year, so you're going to be in the Mountain West in basketball.
Well, see you later, bud.
Yeah.
Get ready to learn Mountain West, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like the Big 12 in wrestling. I mean, you have South Dakota State. They're in the Big 12 in wrestling.
Mhm.
Um, Wyoming, Air Force. These smaller schools that are in FCS, they're in the Big 12 in wrestling. So, I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's weird being, oh, we're this conference in this, but yeah, we're this conference in this.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with South Dakota State. I keep going back to them, but with different sports,
Yeah.
they're different leagues. Like,
They're in Big 12 in wrestling.
Big 12 wrestling, they're in the Valley for football, they're in the Summit League for basketball, golf.
But that's what I'm
It's
saying. Like, you
it,
can make that work very
that's
easy,
true. Yeah.
for Olympic. And guess what? I don't know how all the tiers make sense on the money wise, but that is exactly my point. Hey, we can minimize travel for because for wrestling, unless you wanted to go to a lesser competition, you're going to go to the big league, the biggest league like that you can get into, like Big 12, minimize travel, and then you can still get in the recruits for that. But then basketball, you're not as good. Like you said, let's go back to Summit, limit our transportation, and that gives us the best shot to get into the postseason for there. And
Yeah.
I just don't know how that's not more of a thing. I'm sorry, you see, here's some of these athletes like at USC going, we came here expecting to travel to Stanford, and now we have to go to Rutgers occasionally. It's like, I'm sorry, that's kind of part of the Division I experience. And you can leave, I guess. You can go to a smaller, you
Yeah.
can go to US Santa Barbara if you want to just keep regional, but I bet you don't want to do that.
Yeah. Go to a conference that is more regional.
Yeah, I
guess. Yeah.
guarantee you'll find a place to do that, but I also guarantee you don't want to lose the prestige of going to an honorable school like USC and get that degree.
And yeah, and you're still Division One. You're still going to be, I don't want to say you're flying private jets when you're a Olympic sport, but you're still going to be flying nice. You're going to be put up in a nice hotel. It's not that bad.
No, they have to sleep in the airports when they fly back, I hear.
Iowa State
They
sleeping
don't
in
even
a
get per
ballroom in
diem.
Hawaii a couple years ago.
Matthews, who ends the season with a better record, ISU and Drake. Well, right now I looked it up. Drake is 1-4, and Iowa State is 2-3. Iowa State's ending with a better record, my friend.
I keep going back to South Dakota State here. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they're like Joey. Miami's his second team. They're my second team.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
South Dakota State beat Drake 70-7.
Those poor little whimpering Bulldogs. Holy shit.
Yeah, that game was played at Target Field in Minneapolis, at the baseball field.
I remember watching that game. Well, like I said, I remember watching it and go, oh, cool baseball field. And then it was 52 or 50, like 9-7. I was like, okay, never mind. I don't need to watch the rest of this game. I know what's going to happen. So, well, we'll come back to this in about 7 weeks, Matthews, in 2 months, and we'll make you eat your words because Iowa State will end with a better record than Drake.
It's going to happen.
So,
you heard it here first.
Yeah, but real controversial takes here.
Yeah.
All right, Trey, you got anything else you want to add?
Nope, I got nothing.
There we go. Let's get the hell out of here. Well, I do appreciate everyone joining. If you do enjoy it, please make sure subscribe, share with your friends. Make sure they listen to it. Just subscribe on their phones when you say, "Hey, can I play some Candy Crush real quick?" Go to their podcast, subscribe, like. Let's get these views up. I want to retire here soon. I don't want to keep working my whole life.
We see you commenting on Facebook. Just share the video from. I mean, come on, it's that easy. Yeah, tell 20 of your friends.
And if you don't, I'm just gonna have to keep going back to all my coworkers like this. So I mean, I'm just gonna keep doing this annoying podcast if you don't. So I mean,
yeah, do you really want to keep working with Bryant?
Yeah, I could retire if you just get your buddies to subscribe. So
the Powerball was drawn 29 minutes ago. Just saying.
No, I didn't. I forgot to buy a ticket. Otherwise, I would have won. Gosh darn it! Well,
$1.2 billion, Bryant.
Damn it! Usually, I actually remember to buy it for those. That is the funniest mentality. It's like 300 million. I'm barely gonna break 160 if I.
Do you want to be poor?
Yeah, like acting like I would the way I live now. Like I wouldn't be set. My children, my children's children. I don't even want to risk that $1 buy.
Whew,
Screw it.
you can be poor because you only won 300 million.
Do you know how good this podcast would be if I had $160 million? I'd have a camera that works with the lighting. It would be insane.
You could just podcast somewhere not in your bedroom.
Yeah. Yeah, I apologize. I'm doing laundry. That's why my bed doesn't have any sheets on it. My camera is so dark, it looks like I'm like in witness protection and they're giving me questions, but the camera's blacked out everything. That's how bad my lighting is. So please get
the voice is all like
subscribers
scrambled.
Yeah, my voice is in
This is Pulse of the Heartland podcast.
At Heartland Pulse. All right, appreciate you guys.